The grand court, once bustling with the chatter of ministers and the fragrance of ceremonial incense, now feels heavy with dread. The king, Yi Hyun, remains weak from his wound, and his absence from the throne creates a vacuum that everyone feels, though none dare voice aloud. Whispers float like smoke between courtiers. How grave is his wound? Will the kingdom hold if the king cannot rise? Servants bow their heads lower, afraid even of their own shadows. The palace is a place where silence can be more dangerous than speech. And on this night, silence reigns. In her chamber, concubine Kang Mokju sits before a bronze mirror, idly running her fingers along the lacquered frame. Her reflection stares back with beauty and poise, but her thoughts are anything but calm. She remembers Ji Yong, this strange woman who suddenly entered the palace kitchens, dazzling the king with her bold flavors and her unusual courage. Mokju snaps her fan shut with a sharp clap, muttering under her breath, "A cook who dares to shine like a queen. She must be taught her place." Elsewhere, in the cold, damp confinement quarters, Ji Yong sits with Gilgam. The space is barely lit, the air thick with mildew. Chains clink whenever they shift, a cruel reminder of their current fate. Gilgam looks around nervously and whispers, "We've been thrown here like criminals. What if they decide we're guilty before any trial?" His voice shakes. Ji Yong doesn't answer immediately. She gazes at the rough stone floor, tracing lines in the dirt with her finger. Finally, she lifts her head, her eyes calm but burning with resolve. "Gilgam," she says softly, "do you know what I see when I look at this dirt?" He frowns. "I see filth." What else could it be? Ji Yong smiles faintly. "I see a cutting board. The dirt is flour, the stones are spices. Even in this place, I see food because food is my life. And food is how I'll survive." Gilgam stares at her as though she has gone mad. "You're still thinking about cooking?" Ji Yong nods. "Cooking is the only weapon I have. If they give me a fire, I will give them a reason to let us live." Not long after, guards arrive. Their armor clinks against the narrow walls as they bark orders. Ji Yong, instead of cowering, steps forward. Her voice rings clear. "Tell your masters this. If my food can please the palace once more, then not only should I be freed, but so too the other women unjustly imprisoned." The guards exchange uneasy glances. Even Gilgam tugs at her sleeve, hissing, "Are you insane? You'll bring the wrath of the entire palace upon us." But Ji Yong's voice grows firmer. "I would rather die cooking for freedom than rot in silence." Word spreads quickly through the palace corridors, and soon Ji Yong is summoned before the Queen Dowager. The hall into which she is led is vast, with crimson banners hanging from the ceiling and golden dragons carved into the pillars. Ministers stand in lines, watching as if ready to pounce. At the far end, on a raised dais, sits the Queen Dowager herself. Her face is unreadable, her gaze sharp enough to pierce through lies. Ji Yong bows low. The Queen Dowager speaks with icy calm. "You are bold. Too bold for your own good. Do you truly believe a mere cook can bargain with the crown?" Ji Yong raises her head just enough to meet the Queen's eyes. "I believe taste does not lie. Let me cook, and you will see truth on a plate. If I fail, then take my life, gasps ripple across the chamber. Some ministers whisper, "She dares speak so rashly." Others smirk, already eager to see her humiliated. The Queen Dowager's lips curl into something between a smile and a sneer. Very well. You will have your chance. But know this. The palace kitchen is not a playground. It is a battlefield. If you wish to gamble your life upon flavor, then you shall face competition. Only if you rise above them all will your request be heard. The announcement spreads like wildfire. A cooking contest will be held. Ji-young must face the best chefs of the palace, and the stakes are higher than anyone can bear to say aloud. In her private chamber, Mokju laughs bitterly when she hears the news. A contest? How perfect. Let her step into the kitchen and choke on her own arrogance. She leans toward her maid, her voice low and venomous. Do not let her win. Prepare the obstacles. She will not leave that kitchen victorious. The night before the contest, Ji-young sits in silence, her thoughts a storm. Gil-geum sits nearby, gnawing on his fingernails. Ji-young, he says, what if they rig everything against you? What if no matter how good your dish is, they've already decided your fate? Ji-young looks down at her hands, scarred from years of chopping, searing, and kneading. Then I will let these hands speak. Even if they hate me, they cannot deny flavor. Every bite carries truth, and truth has power. The following day dawns. The palace kitchen, normally a place of routine, transforms into an arena. Fires blaze in the hearths, the clang of knives echoes, and the scent of dozens of spices hangs heavy in the air. The chefs, dressed in crisp robes, line up at their stations, eyeing Ji Yong with disdain. She doesn't belong here, one mutters. Another scoffs. She'll collapse before the soup boils. But Ji Yong walks in with quiet confidence. She ties her apron, sharpens her knife, and whispers under her breath, "Today, I cook not for myself, but for freedom." The Queen Dowager enters, her presence commanding silence. The contest begins now. Cook and let the flavors decide. Ji Yong takes a deep breath and begins. She slices vegetables with precision, her movements fluid as though guided by instinct. Flashbacks wash over her. The meals she once prepared for family, the laughter of friends around a simple table, the warmth of feeding the hungry. She pours all those memories into her dish. Across the kitchen, Mokju watches with narrowed eyes. She signals her maid, who discreetly spills salt near Ji Yong's station. Gilgyum, ever watchful, notices and quickly blocks the sabotage. "Try harder," he mutters under his breath, glaring at the maid. Ji Yong continues undistracted, her focus absolute. She sears meat, balances sauces, and layers flavors with a confidence that grows each second. The other chefs, once mocking, begin to glance uneasily at her. She moves like she's done this all her life. One whispers. As the dishes near completion, the pressure mounts. Beads of sweat trickle down Ji Yong's face, but her hands never tremble. She plates her dish with elegance, her eyes shining with determination. "This," she whispers, "is my truth." The moment arrives. The Queen Dowager's attendants bring forth the plates. Ministers lean forward, curious. Mokju grips her fan so tightly that it nearly snaps. Ji Yong stands tall, every nerve in her body alive with anticipation. The first spoonful is lifted. The courtiers taste. Silence falls over the hall. The Queen Dowager raises an eyebrow, her expression unreadable. The camera lingers on her lips as she takes another bite, then sets her chopsticks down slowly. The episode ends before the verdict is revealed. The screen fades to black, leaving us suspended in uncertainty. Did Ji Yong's dish conquer the doubts of the court? Or will palace politics crush her despite her talent?